Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and it's time for my top 5 favorite comic books of the week. What? That's right everybody, thanks for checking out the video. I am Rockin Robbie Billups. This is my top 5 favorite new comic books for this week, March 2nd, 2022. March 1st if you're DC or whatever, but that doesn't matter. We're back into the game again. I used to do a top 10 on my own. I used to do a top 10 of the week with Jim Man Collectibles, and now we're doing a top 5 here. At least this week, we'll see how it goes. If you like this idea, let me know in the comments down below, but let's get right into it. At number 5, The Nice House on the Lake, issue number 7. Written by James Tynion IV, artwork by Alvaro Martinez Bueno, coloring by Jordi Belair, lettering by And World Design. So this is the big triumphant return of Nice House on the Lake from like a 3 or 4 month hiatus, and it hasn't skipped a beat. At the end of the last arc, it kind of game changed everything, shifted the story in focus, in direction just a little bit. This continues that pace expertly well. I was a little bit worried that maybe this would feel like a setback and kind of restarting the story, but it doesn't do that. It does further explore these characters, their relationships, and of course the mystery of what's actually going on. The artwork by Martino Bueno is absolutely freaking amazing. Martinez Bueno, I freaking love it. The artwork is amazing, great composition, double page spreads. There's heavy use of gutters, but no panel borders, and I kind of really like that feel to the artwork in this book. Of course, the coloring, super rich and layered, and the lettering pretty top-notch as well. Handling it all, I love it, a triumphant return. At number 4, Arkham City, The Order of the World, issue number 6. Written by Dan Waters, with artwork by Danny, coloring by Dave Stewart, lettering by Aditya Bidikar. I can't believe we live in a world where we've gotten this book, where pretty much the writer and artist of Coffin Bound have done a Batman-centric story with no Batman in it. It's absolutely amazing. Picking up from the events of A-Day, Arkham Asylum has been destroyed. You got these like D-list Arkham villains kind of meandering around town. We're talking about Dr. Phosphorus. We're talking about Professor Pig. We're talking about the Ten-Eyed Man. But Dan Waters is able to craft a really dirty and gritty story that makes you feel like you got to take a bath after reading this book. So these Arkham Asylum inmates, former inmates, are out there in Arkham. Some of them are trying to recreate their own version of Arkham or something like that. Really interesting stuff, but just dark. And the integration of Azrael as a character in this book was absolutely amazing and really helped elevate this final issue, which already had a great thematic ending, like seriously, but it also elevates those stakes as far as the action is concerned. Danny, the way that she's doing the artwork, gritty, dirty, seedy, underbelly, that's how it's supposed to feel. That's how it feels, especially with the color palette chosen by the masterful work from Dave Stewart, and you got the best letterer in the business. Come on. It's literally one of the best writers, one of the best artists, one of the best colorists, and one of the best letterers all doing a book. You know I'm in love with it. At number 3, Dark Knights of Steel number 5, written by Tom Taylor, with artwork by Yasmin Putri, coloring by Arif Prianto, lettering by Wes Abbott. Dark Knights of Steel has been super fun. This has been a really interesting book that could have just easily been a cliche of a cliche. This is basically a high fantasy version of the DC universe. So they're knights, they're in castles, it's a little Game of Thrones, and everybody's in these different roles, but still kind of acting familiar. But there are surprises. There are definitely surprises. Let's talk about the story first and foremost. Tom Taylor does a really great job of doing these Elseworlds type books. This, to me, 5 issues in, is super strong, and it's got me more compelled than Deceased did 5 issues in. That is definitely aided by some very shocking moments that I do not see coming, and also highly elevated by the artwork. Yasmin Putri's artwork is amazing. There's an energy, there's a flash, there's a a pace to it that's a very brisk pace, along with the dialogue from Taylor, makes a really easy, breezy, yet meaty read. The coloring is top-notch, really helping to kind of round out some of those figures, and the lettering's decent as well. This is one of DC's best books right now. At number 2, Radio Spaceman, number 1. Written by Mike Mignola, with artwork by Greg Hinkle, coloring by Dave Stewart, lettering by Clem Robbins. So this is the start of a brand new Mike Mignola creation, creator of Hellboy, his name was, and I am all down for it. So Radio Spaceman was just a sketch, I think, that Mignola did like back in 2020, and now he's kind of developed a story around it, and it's very much a Mike Mignola type story. The artwork by Hinkle is really solid. I think this book would have been elevated even further had it actually been illustrated by Mike Mignola, but that's just really not going to happen anymore. But Hinkle does a great job of capturing the atmosphere, the tone, the pacing, and the composition that we require almost from a Mike Mignola comic book. Really like the story. This old dude jacks himself up on Earth. He's able to control this spaceman out in space, so he's like this, like, I don't know, like pre-Victorian era sci-fi alien hunter, something like that. Very little given as far as lore or background, but that's something prevalent in a lot of Mignola works. This is just a 2-issue miniseries, hopefully of a series of miniseries. It's listed as Mission to Numa 4. I love it. Solid artwork, great coloring, and that's one of the best things about a Mignola-verse book is usually that Dave Stewart coloring. Absolutely great stuff, great panel design, great composition and flow throughout. This one was super impressive, even if you've never read a single book by Mike Mignola or set in that world, and this isn't necessarily set in that world, it's its own thing, but even if you've never read any of that, this is a good time to dip your toes in. And at number 1, crossover number 12. Written by Donny Cates with Robert Kirkman, artwork by Jeff Shaw, Phil Hester, and Klaus Janson, coloring by Dee Cunniffe, and lettering by John J. Hill. I have been having an immense level of fun with crossover, in particular over the last few issues. I thought it was pretty solid at first, but it didn't completely wow me. Then they start bringing in Michael Allred's Madman character, and I just started eating that stuff up, but I'm a huge mark for Madman. Then it kind of meandered around. I just kind of wasn't feeling it. Right? Didn't quite vibe with the idea of what was going on. Felt like it was a big promise without delivering on that promise. I'm completely freaking wrong. These last few issues have been amazing. I'm also a big mark for Powers, the Brian Michael Bendis, Michael Avon Oeming book. I love that book. Seeing them being integrated into the story. And now here we are 12 issues later. And I've been ragging on the book here and there, being like, how does it, the best issue was written by Chip Zdarsky. That's what's so amazing to me about this. It's not just a crossover of characters, it's a crossover of creators. We've had work from Chip Zdarsky. We've had work from Brian Michael Bendis. We've had work from Robert Kirkman here in this issue, and a plethora of artists really aiding Jeff Shaw. I freaking love it. A bunch of different ideas, a bunch of different styles all thrown together. This is a big revelatory issue where we understand the scope and the direction of a whole lot of what this story's been building up to. Even Donny Cates writing himself in a very meta kind of way, making meta comments and things like that. Absolutely love it. It works. This was a big explosive turning point for me for this series, and I am pretty much down. This thing could go 60 freaking issues, 100 issues, and I'm all excited for it. I want to see Savage Dragon. I want to see Spawn. I want to see all these other independent stuff, but more than that now, I want to see where this story is going, how this story is going to develop. What's going to happen to these characters? What's going to happen to these creators? What's going to happen in this world? I have not been as hyped for crossover as I am right now after issue number 12. That's what made it pick of the week and number 1 here on this list. So what are you reading? What are you digging? What are you thinking? What's your top 5 favorite comic books new of this week? Let us know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Join us over at patreon.com/PCP if you want to help support the channel. I've been Rockin Robbie Billups. Thanks for rocking with us. Keep on reading. Station. Pop, pop, boom.